Hey everybody, what's up? We're back. It's those wrestling girls. It's your girl Krista B.
And Queen PR.
And today we have a long overdue episode that we're gonna do. But before we get into it, you guys know I'm a firm and strong believer in mental health and just check-ins and everything like that. So P, and it's been even though I feel like we see each other more now.
Yeah.
Over the weekend you were away.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling? Like, how are you doing?
I'm good. I had a nice weekend away. I tried a lot of new things. I went axe throwing, which was
Instagram.
Yeah, so that was I was not very good at it. It has it's a lot of technique. It looks very easy, but it's like a lot of technique, and I was just like, okay, this is a lot. But it was super fun. Our axe master James, he was super dope.
Shout out to James, axe master.
Yeah, yes. But how are you? I know you were prepping for your panel.
Yes, I'm prepping for my panel, hence the hair and the eyebrows.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just prepping, just hoping that everything goes well. Shout out to Letty. So follow her, guys. Social media strategist. She definitely hooked up my flyers for this event, and I'm just really excited to see where it goes. Yeah, I mean the stressful part is almost over.
Yes.
It's almost over. Yes. So I'm just really excited for that. Other than that, I'm good. I feel well rested, even though probably by the time this is over, I'll probably be knocked out somewhere. We're heartbreaking women, sis.
Yes, we really are. And it's funny. Well, it's not funny. It's actually really dope because this 2020 was when you were supposed to have your panel. Right. So it's like coming back. So it's like yes, this time is here.
Stuff back and all of that. So definitely excited. I can't wait for everybody to see it. Follow Unapologetically Eclectic. Subscribe to them. Subscribe to me on YouTube as well, because that's where the video goes. As well as my site. So please subscribe to Unapologetically Eclectic on YouTube. Yeah, but you ready to jump into this episode?
Let's do it, because this is like you
said. Before I jump into this episode, sis, you're wearing history in the making on your shirt.
Yes. I am. I definitely am. I am living. Actually, I gotta do this justice because it was.
Yes, Black Wrestling.
Yes, it was a gift. Shout out to Black Wrestling. Yes, I could not I opened this and I was like, oh my god! And it came with a pin, and I love pins. So shout out to them. Thank you so much. I'm rocking it now for this very special episode, and I'm rocking it on Saturday for when these fabulous women of color make history, hopefully as a main event.
I mean, I'm wearing a woman who made history too, even though she's not a woman of color.
We still are.
Also wearing Becky. Both. When she was relentless, and when she became the man, the transitional forms. Okay,
love it.
But let's get into this super fun, super dope episode. Long overdue. Today we have a spotlight episode, and we may have a surprise too. Surprise. But today we are doing a spotlight on the one and only, the phenomenal Jazz. And there is not much Jazz is a legend. Okay? Legend. She literally paved the way for women of color. Her representation definitely mattered in the world of wrestling. It was like you had Chyna, who was, they were same stature, Jazz is a little bit shorter, but same build or whatever. They can take each other on. I would have loved to seen a rivalry between Chyna and Jazz.
Oh, me too.
If my God, got that ball with Chyna, that would have been legendary.
That would have been legendary. And especially for us, because Jazz was so different from everybody at the time. Right. And just like Chyna. So they could have been putting on matches I think of the Beth Phoenix body types, and just being that beautiful, fierce, strong. And she's of course a woman of color. So that's why I love that this sweatshirt came at this time. And for those that are listening, it's a sweatshirt with Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, WrestleMania graphic from Black Wrestling Podcast. So I'm glad that we can do that, because we were listening to that panel by the Female Quotient with during I believe it was Black History Month.
Black History Month was leading right into Women's History Month. So
yeah, with Bianca Belair, Naomi, Kayla Braxton, I think, and Bianca Belair talked about how Naomi inspire her, to see her, the representation, and then hearing Naomi talk about Alicia Fox, and then you read that Jazz was inspired by Jacqueline, who's another fabulous woman of color, inspired her to wrestle. So, and it just reminds you like why representation is so important.
Yes, definitely. Representation is so, so important. And, growing up in Attitude Era and going into Ruthless Aggression, as we've talked about plenty of times before, we rarely had that representation. We had it with the guys. Yeah. I felt like there were a lot of Black male wrestlers then for some reason, even though if I'm looking at it now, it wasn't that many. But to us back then, that's what it was. And we only had Jacqueline as a Black representation for females. And then later on, like when Jacqueline was kind of on her way out of the ring, and we was going into Ruthless Aggression. We had Molly Holly, we had Victoria, we had Trish, we had Lita, we had some Stephanie, Gail Kim, and then we had Jazz. Jazz was the only Black female wrestler at that time. And it was so pertinent for us to be like, yo, we need to make sure that when we do this series, this Ruthless Aggression series, that Jazz is definitely a prime staple in this series, because without her representation in that era, even though I feel like that was kind of like the depletion. I don't know if it was like making the women feel depleted in a sense, like if they were going down and up, because with the women in wrestling, you never knew which way it was going to turn.
Right.
I did feel like that's when the women were starting to become, like, we're starting to show not more skin, because ain't no way you could show more skin than Sable in that fucking whatever. Right. But it was a way of these women to be more, to use their wrestling abilities less and their sexual assets more. And Jazz was not that. She was using her wrestling abilities.
Oh yeah.
She came, she saw, she conquered. Yeah. And she was like, I'm not gonna be that standard. And she wasn't that standard. She was, I guess, she was the original anti-diva, if you will.
Yeah, honestly,
she was. Page, love you guys.
Right.
But she was that, and that meant a lot to me, because it was okay to stand up. Like, you took up that space. Shout out to that's the shameless plug. She took up that space that she was in, and she didn't let nobody pigeonhole her. She didn't let anybody stand in her way. And I feel like when things got tough because they couldn't, or they didn't want to brand her in a certain way, you're gonna only take but so much, and you leave and you go and do other things. And she just went on there and still became great. Yep. Like, Jazz is an unsung hero of Ruthless Aggression.
Oh, she totally is.
Flowers.
She totally is. And shout out to my friend Chris. Jazz is his favorite wrestler. Like, that's why he loves wrestling. I remember for Evolution, he went to a show that she was going to be headlining before he came to Evolution, because it was just that special to him. So shout out to him. And what I also liked about Jazz too is when she came out, I didn't think about bra and panty matches. I didn't think about what she was wearing. I thought about how she was going to get in the ring and like really show these girls what's up. And I say it all the time. I said it in our Trish Stratus episode, that Jazz made me take Trish Stratus seriously as a wrestler. Yeah. Like, and I wish that WWE, talked about their feud more, because I think that's when you got to see how tough Trish can actually be, because of how Jazz elevated her in the ring.
Right.
Just a couple fun facts about Jazz before we dive more into her. So she's a 2-time women's champion. And a fun fact, she's the last woman to hold the WWF Women's Championship. So she's the last person to hold the Women's Championship when the company was called WWF, which is
I wonder if she has that belt. She should have it.
Right. Yeah. I would love to know. I would love to know.
What else? What other fun facts you have about that?
So speaking of history, at WrestleMania, she is the only Black woman to defend and retain her women's championship at WrestleMania. So Sasha Banks could repeat Jazz's history, or Jazz will be the only one.
Only for now.
Right, exactly. While we're at it.
We all know I like Sasha. Sasha is the best, but I'm Team Bianca.
Oh, I can't. Yeah.
I know you
yeah. I think we should do a sound off on that one. Like, so just like who I want to win at WrestleMania. Because I have
a good sound off before Saturday gets here.
Yeah.
Busy.
I know this week is super busy. And it's funny because Jazz has a lot of WrestleMania moments, especially with Trish Stratus. And not a lot of women can say that they've had championship matches at WrestleMania. And Jazz can say that she did, and she did it with, somebody as great as Trish. So she debuted at Survivor Series. She was the surprise addition to a 6-pack challenge for the women's title.
Can we see why Survivor Series is my favorite pay-per-view? We have so many epic debuts at Survivor Series. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Undertaker, The Rock, Jazz, like the list goes on and on and on. So, we're just gonna say, see, right there. That's it.
That is so true. And of course, before she was in WWF, she was in ECW as Jasmine. And again, that's where she saw Jacqueline perform. And we also have a spotlight episode on Jacqueline, so check that out. And so she debuted in 2001, and 2002 was when she was feuding with Jazz. So this is definitely
Jazz was feuding with who?
With Trish.
Oh, you said that's when she was feuding with Jazz.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, she's feuding with herself? What? I didn't see that.
Like, I missed that story.
I'm like, did Peacock take that off?
So yeah, but she was like super tough. I remember that. And it's funny that she was in the company during those years, because those were like some of the most popular years, like just towards the end of the Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression era. She feuded with Victoria. She challenged for the Hardcore Championship. She definitely tangled it up with some of her old ECW cohorts, like the Dudley Boys and Raven and Just Incredible. So she had a memorable run.
She did. You just mentioned Just Incredible, and I'm like, wow, like
I threw it back, yo.
Like, if y'all don't know who Just Incredible is, sorry for y'all. Everybody knows who the Dudley Boys. Raven, you know what's crazy? Raven was one of my favorite when he came down to WWE during that ECW, WCW, whatever. Raven was like one of my favorite ECW wrestlers. Very long with Rob Van Dam.
I love Rob Van Dam.
Going into Hall of Fame. And I had tweeted, I feel like I tweeted this like 2 years ago. I was like, Rob Van Dam should be in the Hall of Fame as long overdue. And he retweeted that. So I'm going to find that.
And now look.
And I'm going to, I don't want to pin it because I'm going to lose my Rock tweet. Let me see what I got pinned to my Twitter right now.
Like, I think it might be the Rock tequila.
Well, I already had it. I already have it. So I could take the Rock down for a little bit. It's not hurt. Who's going to hurt? But, yeah, like, Jazz is phenomenal. At first, like growing up, watching her, and I'm just like, yo, like I said, who is this woman? I've never thought anything bad about her. Like I would have these preconceived notions about people sometimes.
Yeah.
When they come out but I'm like, yo, like she's a bad, I don't want to say bad bitch, but she's tough and she's literally it. And I'm mad that her run in WWE was so short-lived because, I feel like there was, and as well as everybody else who watched wrestling around the time, she has so much more to give.
Yeah.
It was so short-lived.
I agree. And I liked her hair. Like, I liked her look. I liked the like silver metallic gear that she had. She looked like me, and I will never forget like all the stories that I hear about how hurtful it was when she was one of the only divas that didn't get a doll,
right?
And was told straightforward, like, it's because of your look.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, that's not easy to hear, especially when you were as popular as Jazz. And with the revisionist history we were talking about last night, it's like people that don't know will not know, which is unfortunate. And that's why I'm glad that we're doing this episode, because Jazz was super popular. She was champion. Like we said, she was feuding with the top people at the time. Like, and the only reason she dropped her title is because I think she tore her ACL. And maybe 2000, at the end of like 2002, maybe. And that's when she successfully defended her title in a 3-way with Trish and Lita and at WrestleMania 18. And look who we're saying, Lita and Trish. And she walked into the WrestleMania as champion and walked out. That means that she was the shit.
Does that sound familiar?
It does.
Becky, Charlotte, and Sasha.
Yeah.
Like Sasha, Charlotte walked in as champion and left as champion. Only thing difference is that she walked in as Divas champion, as women's champion.
Yeah.
And Sasha got her notoriety. Charlotte got hers. They got their dolls, and Becky just sat there without a doll. You understand? Like,
that was so like
cringy,
very cringy. Yeah, and I can only imagine being the champion and being told that you're not going to get a action figure because of your look. But anyway, so I'm glad that we're continuing our Ruthless Aggression series, first of all, because we kind of took a break from it. So I'm glad we're back to it, because that was that weird era where there was like wrestling was going on. There was, you know, it was the same few girls, but, you know, they were putting on feuds like Victoria, you know, Jazz, and, you know, Lita and all of them, Molly Holly, you know, they were putting on like actual matches. So, and I think Jazz is a huge part of that. And like we say in all our episodes, like every single woman that was a part of WWE over the years was like a stepping stone towards, you know, what they're doing now, and hopefully having another female main event.
I really love that sweater. Like,
thank you, me too.
I can't wait for mine to come in the mail.
Yeah. So, and we got to do like a photo shoot in them together.
Well, how are we going to do it together?
At some point. Oh, not before Mania.
No.
But so at some point.
I need a viewing party. Like, I think I'm gonna head up Jabba Tears viewing party on Saturday afterwards.
Ooh.
I need to be around everybody. Like, I really miss everybody.
I do too. I really do. I miss being around everybody screaming.
Out of your plans and whatnot. We just gonna have to pop up.
Yeah, I might.
Yeah,
I might. That sounds good.
I legit miss everybody.
I do too. Shout out to Jobber Tears.
Yes, right. They're actually at Legends Bar right now, but by the time this comes out, this will be
for Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Oh, I would have went to that. I didn't know they were doing one.
Right, me neither, until I saw on Facebook earlier. But for those of you guys who's going to listen to this when it drops, it's probably in 2 weeks. It's going to be long overdue. So we're sorry in advance.
Yes, and it's busy WrestleMania week, so you already know what's up with that. Right. But I have an interesting question that just popped in my head for you. What are some of the history-making matches now you would have liked to see Jazz a part of?
First ever women main event in WrestleMania, of course. First ever Black women main event in WrestleMania, of course. There's a couple of first. I'm trying to figure out a couple of first. Like, it has to be WrestleMania?
No. Just any of the history-making matches that the women have been a part of during the evolution. Like, what are some where you're like, damn, I wish Jazz could have been. Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
She would have tore it up in Hell in a Cell. That Falls Count Anywhere match, I feel like that was the first really for women. I mean, no, there was other ones, but the match between that has to be my favorite match between Sasha and Charlotte. That Falls Count Anywhere match when she bank statement her ass through the barricade, through the armband. That's my favorite. So to see Jazz in something like that to that capacity, because we know she's strong as hell. You know, we know she's not. Nobody's really gonna. I feel like it should have been against Sasha. Like, literally give her a run for her money.
Oh, imagine a Jazz and Sasha Banks match. Whew. Sheesh. Book it.
Mm-hmm. Book it, y'all. Book it.
Like, book that.
What about you? Which one would you want to have?
I
What
would
would you have
say,
be in?
of course, like Royal Rumble. I would have loved to see her a part of the first Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I thought that would have happened.
Me too.
And
Me
Evolution.
too.
I thought it was going to happen.
Evolution, 100%. I think she should have been in that Legends Battle Royal or the Battle Royal that featured the Legends. I think she should have totally been a part of that. I think, like you said, like Hell in a Cell, like all of those like real like physical matches that the women are doing, I would want to see her being a part of it. Like Money in the Bank, like she would kill it in a ladder match. Like she would be so.
I feel like if you put Jazz in anything, she won't disappoint.
No.
Not at all. She will not disappoint.
Nah.
And that's what we love. Like, we love that she won't disappoint. We love that, she's still going. She's still going. Like you never retire in wrestling.
You really don't. Like you said, she's still going. I think she might have announced her retirement. I think she's gonna do like one more like run. I think she's at Impact right now. And then she is probably gonna retire. But I love like her new haircut. She has like a buzz cut. She's just fucking hardcore.
That was like a statement when I saw that picture. I was like, did Jazz just shave her head bald? Like she has a baldy and it literally like suits her.
It really
like,
does.
You never imagine people without hair until they don't have it. And it's just like, oh, that's what you would look like without hair. Okay. Because everybody has uniquely shaped heads. Everybody's heads are not shaped the same. So
yeah. I just imagine like what my head would look like shaved, and I'm like,
girl, me too. Like I'm already natural. My hair already, the growth is there. But I'm looking at previous pictures when I first went natural. I'm like, who let me wear this little muffin top? My friends ain't real. Like, ain't none of y'all real.
You had to go through the transition period. Right.
I'm just like, y'all telling me I had to keep this braided because this don't look cute. Like what? Now I'm over here flourishing. When I flourish someone, I'm gonna say the same thing now. Like,
why y'all was doing that?
Y'all killing me.
Oh yeah, and I forgot to say that she also was in WWE at the same time as Gail Kim. So, and they are two. I can't wait to feature Gail Kim, but they went on to do great things like outside of WWE, and then she ended up coming back after under like the new ECW, but that didn't end up being for long. Only after like I think a year maybe. If even that, but she did get to face Mickie James, who was champion at the time. That's a dream match that I didn't realize I like want to see happen until like I just said it again, and I'm like, yeah,
we could do that. That could work.
I'm with that. Do you have any favorite Jazz moments?
I don't think I have a favorite Jazz moment. Me personally, like I was just so in awe and enamored with her, period. It was just like, oh my God, like she was doing not the KOD. The KOD is when Bianca picks them up by her arms and lay them on their face. No.
Yeah, I think so.
No, that's the other one. But whatever Beth Phoenix does when she picks them up and plants them on their face, Jazz was doing that. That's the first time I've ever seen it done. And I'm just like, oh my God, like I'm in my head, like I would never want to get her mad.
Like at all.
We're gonna have to be besties because I'm not gonna sit here and get her mad and upset and she throw my ass. And mind you, by the time I'm watching her, I'm like 10, 11, 12. And I was hard to believe, but I was smaller than this. And I'm just like, you could blow on me and I fall. We're not doing that. Mm-mm.
So so Jazz was on Ring the Bell last year. Shout out to DS. We did a fun Bella Twins Hall of Fame, I guess, roundtable with him last night. And she was on his show and she counted down some of the top 5 moments of her WWE career. So I would love for us to talk about them. Okay. So she says debuting at WWF Survivor Series in 2001, of course. And I remember that vividly.
I don't know if I remember it.
So let's see. So who else was in the match? And then I feel like that would help us remember. So it's funny. So another connection to just everything that we were talking about is the reason why they were having the 6-pack challenge at Survivor Series is because China left the company and they had to vacate the title.
China was women's champion at that time.
Yeah.
And we gotta stop saying that she left. She was fired. She was told to go home. She was told to go home, go to her hotel room, and they will call her when they needed her. And they never called her again. She was fired. We're gonna normalize China being fired from WWE. Sis did not leave. She was fired. Carry on.
This is true. It's true. So yeah, so that's why they were having the 6-pack challenge. So she was in that 6-pack challenge match with Ivory, Jacqueline, Lita, and Molly Holly.
Right.
And we have a spotlight episode on Molly Holly, Ivory, Jacqueline, and Lita. So please check that out. And our Attitude Era series. Huh?
I said, come on for the plugs.
I know. It's just, I love how everything is just like coming together nicely.
Like, now, be the plugs. Wait till our Divas Era edition. I can't wait to do those. I'm gonna need all the sleep in the world because I could talk all day about the Divas, especially the twins, which we already do have a spotlight on. So we're probably gonna have to do a second spotlight because that was like their birthday episode where we got drunk.
We did. We gotta do a part 2 on all our spotlights at some point. We can still drink let's drink wine while we do it.
We can't drink Belvedere, and we already had this conversation yesterday. I'm not trying to relive that.
Yeah, it's very triggering for us because, yeah. And I drank my bottle. I saved the bottle, but I drank it. And I wish I would have savored it a little bit more.
Yeah, the other bottle was not open.
All right. Yeah, we got to change the subject because this, yeah. I'm so sorry. So back to Jazz in the Russian era. I love that Teddy Long was her manager. He is funny. He's always good for some entertainment. And he definitely added something to her, to being, I guess, her manager. How did you feel about it?
I have to give a shout out to Teddy Long and his epic bounce. Hello. I told my brother, one day my brother came over to my house and I was like, that's going to be you when you get old. And he started bouncing. Teddy and my brother started laughing because he knew that's just what he got. That's all in his arsenal. So shout out to Teddy for that. But what I loved about Teddy Long was that he was kind of calling out WWE on their shit around that time because it was him, Jazz. Dang, I forgot the other two he was managing. It was 2 other black guys he was managing, and it was just like, oh, you trying to bring me down because I'm a brother, all the really all that stuff. And at that time, watching, you really didn't understand. You just thought it was a part. Of course, it's probably part of a storyline, but there's always some truth behind things that are said. You understand? So I do feel like there was some truth behind that because wrestlers, most of that roster is white or Caucasian or not people of color. So when Teddy Long was calling them out and stuff, especially in the day and age that we are in now, where social justice or social injustice is real, where Black Lives Matters is a thing, where Stop Asian Hate is a thing, and you go back and you look at those times where it was already in our face, but we were just oblivious to it. It stands out and it hits you more as an adult. So I love the fact that Teddy took Jazz under his wing, took those other 2 black wrestlers under. I really can't think of it right now, and it's really bugging me out. Under his wing to let them have their voices heard.
Yeah,
you understand? And I love that. So shout out to Teddy for that. Shout out for that realization for us.
Yeah, I respect that, especially because I feel like Jazz, from what I hear from her experiences in WWE, she was kind of riding out for herself. She didn't have a lot of support backstage, like a Trish probably did. And I hate to just keep bringing her up, but she is the stereotypical, what WWE loves, who they favor. And then you have Jazz that's coming up at the same time. That's her main rivalry. And you can clearly see how she's being treated differently than Trish. And it's okay, well, from commentary to just how she was positioned, Jazz was never given the elevation and the respect I feel like she deserves. So I'm glad that she was able to leave WWE, because again, like as much as I am a WWE loyalist to some extent, like I love that there are other options out there for wrestlers. I love that someone like Mickie James and Gail Kim can leave WWE and have like legendary careers in like TNA and other promotions. And Jazz did the same thing. And like you said, she's still going. She's still putting on matches and bringing up other women. She has a wrestling school that we'll learn more about. So I'm just glad. Huh?
Hopefully.
Yes, hopefully. I'm glad that she never stopped. I'm glad that her, I don't want to say negative. I don't want to speak for her and say it was a negative experience at WWE. But I'm glad that it didn't stop her.
And I feel like in spaces like this, well, you already know, like us being Black women, we can't afford to stop. We can't afford to take a break. We can't afford to have a resting moment. Like we can't normalize that, because that's just something that was not really instilled in us. That's just something to where it's like, all right, if you go through something, cry about it, write it out, yell, scream, but then get back to what you're doing. Like they don't give us those spaces and that grace to actually have those moments. And it's good to see that Jazz is still going, but I'm pretty sure she took breaks along the way. I'm pretty sure she had to go back to her before she go anywhere else. You understand? It's like when Sasha took her break, when Bianca Belair chronicled her life, Alexa Bliss when she did her stuff, it's something that is definitely needed, and definitely that we as Black women of color should definitely, women in general at this point, should definitely have those breaks where it's okay. Like it's not you being weak. It's not you. Oh, you're. It's because you're a woman, or you like. It's not any of that. It's the fact of I'm gonna have to check out and do what I need to do for me before I kill you, type situation.
Right. Exactly.
People don't understand how strong. I mean, there are some people who understand how strong women are, but for those of you who don't, it's very sad and it's very ignorant as to where you don't. So, give us that grace. Like even when me and you go on vacation or go on like on break, you worry more than me. Like, oh my God, what is this? I'm like, listen,
we gotta do it.
We gotta do it for us, because as fast as we say, oh, we're just knock on wood, disbanding those wrestling girls, as fast as another podcast gonna pop out and they'll love them just the same, if not more. They're not gonna be like, oh my God, no, we're just gonna wait for those wrestling girls to come back. We know they're gonna come back.
That's true. I think we kind of touched on it, but like, who are some of your dream opponents for Jazz for the current roster? We already said Sasha.
Well, Charlotte, Bianca, definitely.
Oh, Bianca. Oh, Jazz and Bianca.
Jazz and Nia too.
Yeah. That would be dope.
Even Shayna. Just because it'll be like a test of strength.
Honestly, yeah.
I can see it.
I also love that we're able to mention like such a variety of different type of wrestlers. Like that says a lot about Jazz. Like we went from Shayna Baszler to Charlotte to like Beth Phoenix, like so many different China, like so many different like types of wrestlers. So that says a lot about her.
Yeah, it does. I really would love to have seen a China and Jazz match. I really would love to have to. Lord, I don't. I'd love to see it.
I love my. I just got my China Funko today.
I saw it. Welcome to the club.
So we were so excited.
I got my. See, so you get your sweater first, and I get my Funko first. So
I know, right? As long as we could both wear our Black wrestling sweatshirts on Saturday, we good.
I think I'm asleep in mine.
Yo, and it's so like
it's warm and comfy.
Yes.
Oh man, I would sleep right in mine. Okay, like
I do.
Don't mind me. I'm supporting my Black wrestling. Thanks.
Like, yeah, exactly. Don't mind me. Nothing to see here. Well, yeah, look at my sweater, but don't ask no questions.
Don't ask no questions. I'll tell you no lies.
I could totally have seen Jazz main eventing WrestleMania back.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know,
like for sure.
Without question. No hands down without question.
Yeah, for sure. So
You ready?
We're still waiting.
Okay.
But this is something that I think we've always kind of planned to do.
Yeah.
Is be able to do a spotlight episode on someone and then hopefully hear from them. So yeah, I think we should just introduce our guest of honor.
Right.
Jazz, let's do it.
He's here?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jazz is here.
Oh my gosh.
Hi.
Oh my gosh. I'm fangirling right now. I'm so sorry.
we get like do we get like just a minute just to fangirl real quick?
All good, girls. All good.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
We're good. We're good.
Yeah.
Thank you for wanting to be a part of, our show, our podcast. We can't thank you enough for wanting to be a part of this. We can't thank you enough for even being an influencer in our lives, not even in wrestling, but in our lives, period. Your representation in the wrestling world is so important to us. And this is why we started this podcast, to spotlight the women who inspired us in more ways than just wrestling. So we just want to say thank you for being a part of this. Love it, love it, love it. So I think the first question we want to ask you, besides, how you're doing and how's everything, like I do these check-ins, like these mental health check-ins, because I'm a firm believer. So we just want to check in first to see how things have been going. I know like the past couple of weeks, like sometime last month, it was kind of a devastation in Texas and things of that nature. So how have you been recovering from that?
Pretty good. My life always crazy. I'm a wife, I'm a mom. It never stops. It never stops. But other than that, I'm blessed. I have no complaints whatsoever.
It's funny. So we were just kind of talking about your career a little bit, and one thing that we were saying that we admired about you is we always saw that strength from like within, and how resilient you are and how you push through, and how, no matter what promotion you were in, like you excelled, but like you also brought up everyone else with you. And I think that's something that's so important. And I know Krista B has some questions, and we definitely want to talk about your school, because I think it's very important that you are providing a space for that next generation. Like, it's so important.
Yeah. So the very first question we both wanted to ask is, how did you get into wrestling? Like, what made wrestling the thing that you was like, yep, I'm going to do it, and that's it?
It's a little weird. It really wasn't the first thing that I said I was going to do. I always knew that I was going to do something in front of a lot of people. Right. I thought it was going to be singing or dancing. I'm from the 90s. So, I was all about the hip hop background dancers. That was my dream. But being in sports all my life, being, pretty athletic, a friend of mine approached me. He was actually getting started in the business, and told me I should probably check it out. Of course, I watched wrestling growing up all my life, Memphis wrestling, so that I always was a huge fan. Long story short, tried it, didn't care for it too much, hit my head a few times, and was like, instead of wrestling, how about I just be like a manager, valet? I can come out and hype the crowd, So I tried that a couple of times, and I was told, if you want to make money and be taken seriously, you need to train. And I was told Junkyard Dog had a school in Louisiana, so I loaded up and headed out.
Nice.
Yes.
Dog, another legend.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like, we out here just giving everybody their flowers, okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with that. I'm a true believer in that.
Yes, me too as well, because I feel like there are so many people, especially people of color, and I think Queen PR can agree with me on this. Like, we don't get our flowers until it's too late, or we don't get recognized, and we'll be the underdogs forever until something tragic happens, and then we're martyrs. Like, we're not even, you understand? So me and P, especially with everything that's been going on with like the social injustices, and the whole pandemic, like it literally opened our eyes to something different in a sense, because we always knew that we will always face the social injustice, the racial inequalities. Like that's just something that's never gonna go away, and it's unfortunate for us. But we was like, you know what? Every time somebody comes up and they're doing their thing and they're not recognized, we're gonna recognize them. We're gonna give them their flowers. So, Jazz, of course, we're gonna give you flowers all throughout this interview. I wanted to know, you know, being a Black woman in this industry in wrestling, like how important is the representation for you, and what was your representation growing up?
I come from a church-going family. We're Baptists, and you know, I was brought up very strict. You know, I couldn't walk around in the house in my socks. You know, just little things like that. I couldn't come to the kitchen with my pajamas on. You know, so it's just I instilled all that in me, and my dad always told me, as a woman, your reputation is everything. You know, he said a man could do some of the dirtiest things and, you know, it'll never be talked about again. But if a woman do something, it'll take her to a grave. So I've always tried to uphold that, you know, those standards and just try to do right in life. And I'm just a true believer. If you do right in life, you know, things good will happen to you. You know, you bless someone, the blessings will come back in return.
Same. Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely love that. I don't want to talk all the time, P. You could jump in.
Yeah, I want to know, like, who are some wrestlers that inspired you, you know, growing up? Because we hear a lot of indie wrestlers mention you, and a lot of our favorites. So, who were some that you were like, okay, I admire, you know, what she does with this, and she does with this. I can do it. I'm gonna make this my own.
Yes, Jacqueline, of course, Miss Texas in Memphis. JYD, I think there's not a kid that watched wrestling, you know, growing up during my time, you know, didn't love JYD. You know, I believe we loved JYD before we even knew what a Hulk Hogan was. You know, so that was a true hero in my household. Yeah, of course, Jacqueline. I mean, she was the first. Her and Dark Journey in Memphis was probably the first two Black women I ever saw on television in the wrestling business. And she was always a tough cookie. And that's why it was just weird, you know, when I got in the business, my first match ever was against her.
Oh my God.
It only lasted about 25, 30 seconds, if that, but still, you know,
the fact that you was in the ring with her.
Like, yes. Like, this is what you should be doing.
Yes. And I don't even think she remembered that, because years later in WWE, when I brought it up, when I actually got to meet her and be around her, I don't believe she remembered that. But then again, she probably did, because there's not too many of us in this business anyway.
Right.
That's true.
You know, yeah. But I don't believe she knew exactly what it meant to me. And you know, I've always said, yeah, I got my butt kicked by Jacqueline, my first match ever.
I really do love that story. We were talking about it earlier, of how you feel about the current state of women's wrestling. Like how do you feel watching, you know, I'm sure you were probably like one of a few backstage back in the day, and now there's like divisions with like, you know, 10, 20 girls that can all wrestle. Like, what does that mean to you to see that?
It means the world to me. I honestly, I have to tell myself all the time, like, I wish I was here in this era. You know, I say I was before my time. I was ahead of my time.
Yes.
But, you know, and I had to come to understand that, you know, if I had not been there in that moment, you know, there possibly would never be a Jazz. So I have no complaints about it. You know what I mean? And hoping I helped knock some doors down for some more, you know, women in the business right now. But it's amazing because, as you know, in ECW, I started out wrestling men because there was no women really, you know, and thank God for that, because that really gave me the opportunity to really be me. just go out there and just hard hitting, like give it all I got, and they felt the same towards me. They didn't treat me like a little girl, but just to sit back now and watch how the women have evolved in this business. Wow, it's just it gives me joy, honestly. It really gives me joy because we were once upon a time looked at as just TNA.
Yeah, side shows and
yes. And now these girls are killing it. I mean, the ratings are better than some of the men matches. And and they were, even when I was there in WWE, we were told that. But it was a man's world at the time. Still is kind of sort of, but still we're letting them be known that we're here to stay. We're not going anywhere, and deal with us.
Right. and I love that because, like you said, Mitch, earlier, you were wrestling men when you were in ECW. So it was so good for me to see. I always watched. I was always a WWE, WWF fan, but it was so good for me to see someone like you on the screen because I was a tomboy. Like I always hung out with the guys, jumping over gates, playing tag, play fighting wrestling. Like that was me. And I grew up. My aunt was from the South. My grandmother's from the South. So you're not supposed to play with the boys. All the stuff that you're not supposed to do, you hear. And it was just like, what? This is how I am. This is how I feel comfortable. Like, so it was good to see you on my TV screen, neck and neck with these guys, and you giving it to them just as much as they're giving it to you. And it was no, oh my gosh, you can't do that because she's a female, or I didn't see it that way. I saw it as she's going neck and neck, like she's me right now.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and you know what I really loved about ECW? They never tried to sexualize me. They let me be, who I was, and I'm so grateful for that. Paulie and Dreamer, they actually told me to never get a boob job. They're like, you don't need that. Like, you can wrestle. You don't need all that. So, and that always, stayed in the back of my mind. Although I wanted to get a boob job just to please me.
Right.
But it was, I'm grateful that no matter what promotion I ever worked with, they never tried to change who I am and what I brought to the table.
I love to hear that.
Yeah. And I think what's a little underrated is we were talking about your gear. I always loved like the silver, and I always loved how you wore your hair because it looked like how I wore my hair when I was younger. So just like those little things that's like so important because we're 90s babies. So like, we were like 11, 12 years old watching you. And even though it was such a short amount of time, we always was like, yo, remember Jazz? Like, yo, remember Jazz? Remember Jazz? And you taught me, like as a wrestling fan, what it means to make another opponent look good. So like, I feel like when you came into WWE, like that's when I started to see the women as wrestlers, like not just like eye candy. Because I'm like, okay, if Jazz is in the ring with them, this ain't gonna be pretty. This ain't gonna be no stripping. This is gonna be like a physical match. And like, your WrestleMania moments, being the only Black woman to walk into Mania as champion and walk out as champion against the two hottest people in the company,
that's never mentioned.
Never.
It's never mentioned.
This is why we are here.
Never mentioned.
Yes.
This is why we are here. Like we will mention it. We were broadcasted. Like I said, we were giving.
You know what's really crazy? I didn't even think of that back then. I didn't. It wasn't that. Oh, I'm the first African American. It didn't dawn on me. I was just so happy to be there, and like someone from Memphis, Mississippi. Little Black girl, growing up in the country and here in Mania performing in front of 80 and 90,000 people, that's all I thought about. But, now I'm sitting back and I'm watching all the hype about everything else. I'm like, you know what? Dang, been there, done that. I didn't.
You did that.
Okay. You can curse. We curse all the time. It is okay.
Yeah. Like I paved that way, baby. Like I did that.
No, you truly did, and I'm like getting like goosebumps even just like thinking about it. You know, because that is so 100% true. And we're talking about what, 2002?
Yes.
You know, like this is, like you said, you were ahead of your time.
Definitely, and it's crazy because, you know, and preparing on how we were going to speak with you on, you know, your career and things, like as you said, mentioned, like things of a lot of your accolades are not mentioned. It took me by surprise that at the age of 12, you know, we're not going to be cognizant of that. You understand? We're not going to really understand, oh, you just made history.
Yes.
The first ever to do it. But then when you go back, like I like to go back and to watch what I, just to, you know, jog my memory, just for the love of it. And to see that this time period, I'm like, hold up. So we're not just, I don't like the lack of acknowledgement. You understand? Like, I do not like the fact of, oh, okay, we're gonna, don't get me wrong, like it's a big hype about it now. Like it's amazing now.
Yes.
Never taking anything away from
never
Bianca
or anybody. But give credit where credit is due.
Mm-hmm. And that's all I ask for.
Right.
You know, and I'm not one to stick my chest out and try to say I did this, I did that. You know, it's just like you say, give credit where credit is due. Right. And that's not asking for a lot at all.
It's just like the facts.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like
and you know what I tell people, you know, I'm always told you're so underrated, they don't appreciate you. And I say, everything I've done is written in black and white. They can't erase it.
Not at all. So, exactly.
All you got to do is Google and you can read everything.
Exactly.
Yes, you can't take that away from me.
Yeah, no. I do love, so we talk about on our show all the time, like what social media has done to wrestling. Like, was it good? Was it bad? And I have to ask, like, how you feel about that, but also, isn't it kind of cool? Like, you can kind of connect with your fans because you have such a huge fan base. Like, you know, we want to keep this under wraps until it releases. But if we put on our fucking social media, excuse my language, that we are having Jazz, like, crazy. Oh my God, you know.
And I don't know. No idea. No idea. You know, because I'm so old school. I'm so into my little bubble, you know, my husband and our kids, you know. Again, I was late getting MySpace. I was so behind, you know. We were probably the last two to ever get MySpace.
Well, hey, you didn't miss out on much with MySpace.
Somebody was taking care of that for me. It's like, you know, it's like,
if you ever need help with social media, we got you, girl. We got you.
Yes, thank you. And like, you know, Instagram. I'm never on Instagram. You know, I don't wear makeup every day. You know, I got on a t-shirt, tights. You know, I don't do selfies. Like that's just not my thing.
Right.
I like that.
Being apart from social media is the best thing you can do. Like, we're on it all the time, and you know, because we run our own social media and you know, for purposes and stuff of that nature. But once I take that break, like it's been times where Patricia would get mad at me. Oh, you didn't post this, you didn't post that. I'm like, girl, I work in social media. Like, I need a break. And then she started to understand when she started to, you know, feel what I was feeling. She goes, all right, I need a break. Can you have this? I'm like, yeah, I got this. Go take your break. Yeah. Like, it's so. Yeah.
I think I stay on it enough just to stay relevant.
Mm-hmm. Which is great. And it doesn't take over your life. You can live your life.
No. But I mean, I'm on Facebook like all day, but they said that's even old school. Like, you know. Like,
I was Facebook, told by
nobody's on Facebook. I'm like, well, you know.
My family.
That's my thing.
Yeah.
And Facebook pulls a lot of traction and stuff. Like, I feel like Facebook, because sometimes when Twitter is down and Instagram down, you always have Facebook, and people are always posting stuff on Facebook. Yeah. So if Facebook is your root, stay on Facebook because
that's my thing.
Twitter is an ugly world.
It really can be.
Yeah, it can be. I've been in a few little, incidents on there a little bit, a few times, but really, I'm in character and that's when I was like with the NWA title. Nice. I was trying to just get myself back out there. Mm-hmm. I go in character and just shoot on some people just for the hell of it.
Love it. Yeah. I have a question from one of your biggest fans, and he has met you a couple times. His name is Chris, and you're his favorite wrestler. And he wants to know, how did you keep such a long and amazing career? And how does it feel to know that you made a star of some of the big women that we all revere today?
What was the first part of that question?
How did you keep such a long and amazing career?
Actually, man, I really worked on my craft all the time. I stayed in the ring trying to be better all the time. I put in a lot of time to have the success that I've had in this business. I studied film. God, my husband and I, we used to, it was nothing but wrestling going on in our house. Now that we have kids, we kind of, we've changed, but yeah, when we were in it, oh, we were deep. Oh, we were very, very deep. When they say you live, breathe, sleep, eat shit wrestling, we did that. Wow. To the point when we were in Kentucky that's when Kentucky had the developmental deal for WWE. We took the key, we stole the key, went and made a copy to the building so we can go train like at midnight and 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's no lie. I have people that was there with us. They could tell the same story. But yeah, that's how bad,
dedication.
we wanted to be there. And here's the thing, people got to understand, once you make it, you really got to work even harder. Because there's only so many people allowed, so many slots of television. So, I knew that there were girls, trying to get my spot, but like I said, I've been in sports all my life, so being competitive is just, that's just in my nature.
So speaking of being in sports and, stealing the key and living and breathing and everything wrestling, you started a wrestling school. How did that come about? And how is it going now?
Going great now. Rodney and I started this school in 1997 or 98.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've always had to put it on hold a few times. And, when we were done with WWE, we went back, opened it up again in Louisiana. We left Louisiana, went to Arkansas. We opened it up in Arkansas, went back to Louisiana, started up again, and now we're here in Texas. So we've been doing it a long time. We're really, really passionate about our school too. We've always been very passionate about it. It's about giving back. And especially right now, where I am in my life right now, it's really, I feel like I always say, the business has been good to me. It blessed my life, allowed me to be able to travel the world and make great money. And I just want to be able to give it back, and I believe that's what all the greats do.
Yep.
Yeah.
They pass it along. You pass your knowledge along, that's right. You pay it forward.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at now. We're teamed up with Thunder Rosa. And so the trainers are myself, Thunder Rosa, and my husband, Rodney Mack.
Love that.
So yes.
It must be amazing being married to someone who does what you do and is also equally as passionate about it. Because it's just like, it doesn't feel like you can live it.
I'm not even going to say equally. I believe he's a little bit more passionate about it than I am. Like he's, girl. Yes. He can't do too many interviews without getting emotional. That's how he's passionate about it. Yes. Wow. I too sometimes, but I try to keep my composure, but it's good because I always tell the story as though we needed one another to be successful.
I love that.
Yes, we did. He helped me tremendously. I mean, oh my God, my groundwork is all Rodney. You know, he wrestled. He was a state champion in high school, and you know, and he taught me everything I know far as on the mat. Yes.
Do your children want to be wrestlers? Are they interested?
They're training now, girl. They just had their first match a couple of weeks ago. They're only 12, so they're not bumping yet. But they still told a good little story. You know, yes. I posted it on Facebook. I'm gonna have to try to get it and post it on Instagram or something.
Okay, well, now we know where to check you is Facebook.
Okay. Yeah.
I've always wanted to, you know, be in the ring, hit the mat, hit the ropes, take bumps. And I actually was able to record some, like shoot a short film about being in the ring. And then I saw like how intense it is.
Yeah. Very intense.
I'm very like I'm very, very skinny. I'm just like, yep, nope.
Yeah, speaking of the girls, they've snuck in here. They're behind me now they just got out the pool. Come say hello.
Hi.
This is Sky. Summer. Can you see Summer?
Hi.
That's Summer.
Hi, Summer.
How are you, ladies?
Nice to meet
Yeah, they know I'm doing a podcast. They always have to sneak in. I guess that's their way of saying, like, Mommy, put me over. Tell them I said hi.
Honorary wrestling girls.
Right. Honorary wrestling girls.
Yes.
But the intensity behind being, and the closest I got to the ring was standing on the apron and just getting some shots. But the intensity of like hearing the ropes and hearing the bumps and seeing the wooden panels, like, was there ever?
That's not even the hard part.
Okay, well, okay.
That's the easy part of it.
Man, but was there ever a time where, you know, you've taken a bump or you was just like, yeah, no, I can't do it. I don't want to keep taking bumps. But then it also made your adrenaline rush and be like, you know what? I'm gonna do it again.
Actually, no. I say that now because my body it's not the same.
Okay.
I can't take it. No. I've never ever complained. You know, I've gotten hit a few times. Had a black eye once.
Oh.
Yeah, Trish. Yeah, you remember the episode? You have to go back and watch it. Trish, I had a black eye on Raw.
Yes, I do remember that.
Eye happened at a house show. Yes. So yeah. It's not the bumps never really bothered me because the girls that I wrestled, they wasn't doing all this crazy shit that they're doing now.
True.
You know, these girls are doing, I'm like, oh my God, like it's about longevity, girls. Like that's why I've lasted so long, you know. But these girls, man, I some of them I don't see them lasting 10 years. Their bodies just gonna be destroyed.
Yeah, true.
You don't do things just because you can, you know.
Right. Is there? Oh no, not is there. I'm sorry. What do you say to those who use the F word? And we want to know what the F word is in wrestling. Like, what do you say to that?
Which F word? There's a few.
The fake F word. The fake word.
Oh, yes. Yeah. That kind of pisses me off. Yeah. I can't lie about it. You know, that doesn't sit well with me. It's far from fake. You know, it's fixed, but not fake.
Right.
You know, and I have to explain it like this and say, you know, we make money with our opponents. Mm-hmm. So therefore we can't go out there and kill them. Right. You know, it's not like boxing. You fight this person one time in your career and that's a wrap. Yeah. You know, we're actually in the ring with these people, you know, week in and week out. So that's who we make our coins with. Right. So if anything, I'm going to protect the person that I'm making my money with before I try to injure them. But yeah, I don't. And the people that's saying it's fake have never even tried to step in the ring because most people don't even know how to get inside of a ring. True. You ever been at a show when people are taking pictures in the ring, you know, you know,
it's not as easy as it looks.
Exactly. So yeah, that's how fake it is. That you have to learn how to actually get inside the ring.
Yeah, I get that all the time. Like, oh my, why do you watch wrestling still? It's fake. It's this, it's that. And I'm like, it's not fake. I'm like, the moves and stuff for real. The story, yes, you have storylines. You know, you have to. It's entertainment. You have to put on a show.
Why do people go watch movies? Why do they stream every night?
Exactly. I'm like, it's like soap operas with extra hitting.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: they don't realize everything else is fixed too. NFL, UFC, NBA, all that shit is fixed.
They don't want the real.
That's the money that they don't want to have.
Yeah, I know. I've been into some deep conversations with that one. Yeah, the men, they don't want to hear that.
They sure don't. They don't want to hear
all that shit is fixed, man. It's all fixed.
Exactly. So were you ever a big fan of kayfabe?
Yes, I was. In fact, once I started training, here's another crazy story, right? Once I decided to move to Louisiana to train under the Junkyard Dog, they had a show coming up like a weekend, and they actually worked with me for one day, and I had to have a match. So yeah, I've always been thrown out there to the wolves, swimming with the sharks. And that's why, one day. Again, not saying the match was great, never say that. But anyway, for that particular show, it was ran very old school. This is when Skandar Akbar was still living and still, running shows. They had the heels in one locker room and the baby faces in another. The referee came to tell us to finish. So I've been in those situations before, So yeah. Yeah. Do you think these millennials today could do that?
Of course not. Social media is too real. Social media is the realest thing to them. You can't.
Not only social media, but because you think face be in one locker room and he'll be in another, and the referee just come and tell him, all right, well, Joe Schmo, you're going over with a DDT.
Right. Yeah.
And they can't discuss anything.
No, they don't have that instinct, I guess you could say.
And that's what I call myself. I'm a worker. I can go in the ring and I cannot call a thing and just talk and do it out there in the ring.
I love that. I want to hear about your NWA run as champion, because I thought that was like the coolest thing.
Yeah. Again, I had settled down a little bit, got off the radar for a little while. When they got me a shoot job trying to, do the 9-to-5 thing, when was working at a jail, girl.
Well, you're tough enough.
Right.
Yes. So I tried that for a little while, and they reached out to me and was like, we got this opportunity for it. And I'm like, oh my God. I do not want to wrestle every weekend. And like, no, you don't have to. I'm like, okay. So I did it, and I really had a lot of fun with it, honestly. It's just, I didn't even realize, again, I don't pay attention to a lot of things, and I didn't realize that I had held the title for that long. Yeah, it didn't dawn on me, and it got to the point I did it. My body I started having some issues, and that's why I had to resign, from the title. But yeah, that was again part of my legacy, they can't take that away from me.
Yes. I love that you said that you have fun.
Yes.
And it's like, you could tell that you were like enjoying it. And I love that that made you want to get on Twitter real quick. Like, oh, let me do a little promo. So that's fun. I really enjoy hearing that. And I can only imagine the women that you were able to work with, what it meant to them to be able to be in championship programs with you.
Is it better being a face or a heel? I hear a lot of people.
I'm kind of like a tweener.
Okay.
But I love being a heel.
Yeah, a lot of people say
but I'm a great baby face too.
Okay.
Yeah. If there's anybody that can say they're like a stone cold in this business, it's me.
Nice. Because you can make people want to see you get your butt kicked, but also like, yay, we love you, Chad.
Right.
Yes.
True.
Yes.
I agree with that. Definitely agree with that. So what's next for Jazz? Like what's next?
What's next for Jazz? I'm working with this company, SWE. I am the directors of the women's division there. So I do all the booking. I do all the dealings with the women. Oh my God. That's a job. So yeah, I'm doing that in our school. You know, you can catch SWE. We're on Fight TV. We're on Right Now. We're on CW33 throughout different states and cities. You know, we're on the CW network.
Okay.
So yeah, be sure to check that out, man. SWE is really, really growing, and it's about to be the talk of the 2021 here real soon.
We're definitely gonna check that out and promote it on our channels. For sure.
Let me tell you who we got on our team, man. The office, we got Teddy Long. Teddy Long is there.
We were just talking about Teddy Long. I love him.
Mark Henry, he's on board. Myself, my husband. Oh my God, James Beard. Oh God. Do y'all know the thing about Hannibal TV? He's deeply involved. Yeah, you heard of it? He has a podcast, like huge following. Huge following. Yeah. He's involved. So yes, be sure to check it out because SWE, we're sneaking on up there.
Come on, we need more.
Yes.
When the whole team looks like you.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, and we have Kevin Sullivan too.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
That's a nice group of talent right there.
Yes. And they're the brains behind this. Yeah.
Well, we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that for sure. Like 100%. I do want to ask, what piece of advice do you give? Because I know there's so many more young Black women that are getting into wrestling now, which is so cool. Like it was always one of one. Like it was Jacqueline for us, and then you came along, and then it was a long time, and then and now there's like a couple.
Yes.
What advice do you? Like that one piece of just like quick, if someone walks up to you, Jazz, and they're just like, what can you tell me to help me get through this in this business? Like, what's one thing that always pops in your head?
Stay true to who you are. Don't let them change who you are. Stay true. Yes, live up to your standards. As you was raised, your morals. Don't let them degrade you any type of way. I think that has a lot to do with why I'm no longer with WWE, because I wasn't an ass kisser. If my talent couldn't be enough for me, then hey, it is what it is. But yeah, I just try to tell everyone to be true to themselves. And I have to tell my sisters, my Black women, like, we have to work even harder. You have to. You got to put in the time. You got to invest in yourself. From your head to your toe. You have to.
I was just literally talking to right before you came on. I literally just said that us as Black women, we don't get that same grace to take a break. We don't get that same grace to rest. We don't get that same grace to have time for ourselves. We always have to keep going. And we also have to work twice as hard because we are women of color. Because if we don't do it, somebody who doesn't look like us, who does a mediocre job, would definitely take our spot and rise higher.
A heartbit. Yeah, and gonna get paid more.
Oh, off the jump.
They're gonna get paid more. So yes. But my sisters, a lot of women I see out here, a lot of them don't invest into themselves. If you're gonna have weave, baby, you gotta have it right.
Sure it's laid.
Make sure them edges laid and all that. You gotta have it right. Costumes, stop letting somebody just sew something together and put on you. You gotta invest, baby. You might have to save up a few coins, but Yeah, you always have to look like a superstar.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I want to say thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
You literally dropped so many gems on us. I'm so happy that we were able to have an open conversation. And I hope that there's more in the future.
Yes, hopefully, yes.
Hopefully, me and P can come down to Texas and check out the school. And
yes, please do. The school, the SWE show. Y'all need to come to Texas.
And we definitely want to check in with what you guys are doing over there, and whatever we can do to promote and elevate the, once you said director of the women's division, I was like, yes, we will be any way those wrestling girls can support. We're
definitely here for it.
Definitely, ladies. I appreciate it. Hopefully soon you'll be interviewing my babies.
Yes. Definitely. Let them be on here.
They're so shy. Oh my God. I'm trying to break them out of that.
I had to break P out of talking to wrestlers. I said, listen, just
do it. I was like, you're taking the lead, right? Okay.
I was like, no, they're human, they're people, they have reactions. Go. Feel all that back. That's them. So.
And that's the thing. We're so down to earth. You know what I mean? Like,
you really
and
are.
This is who I am in. I ain't gonna say in the ring, but most definitely out of the ring. This is what you get. And I mean, that's why no one has ever been able to say anything bad about me, because I'm just chill. I get along with everybody. And that's another thing. We can't have these nasty attitudes. Thinking we better than anybody else. Get out there and show how good you are.
Right. Let the actions speak louder than your words.
Talk about it. Be about it. Just go out there and display your talent.
Exactly. Yes. Well, thank you once again, Jazz. We love you. We give you all the flowers, well deserved. Anything you need from us, we are definitely at your beck and call. Just let us know.
What number do I have?
Both of ours.
Okay. Look, I need to save this. What should I save this under?
I'm gonna just text you. When I text, I'll text you with my name, and then you can save it that way. And then because it'll come up.
All right, because I just see Krista and
Patricia.
Okay, I didn't get Patricia. Okay, Krista and Patricia. Gotcha. Yeah, but text me so I can save it individually.
Okay,
definitely.
This was stay in touch.
Yeah, we will. And thank you for everyone that's listening. And I am so glad that we were able to gift our listeners with this wonderful interview, because we literally haven't told anyone, like, at all. Like, oh, I can't wait.
This is really going to probably shut Twitter down. That's it. We haven't told anybody. Like when we say, like when we do our spotlights, we always ask, like, who do you want us to spotlight next? And we've done so many spotlights, but you're the actual first celebrity wrestler to be a part of this spotlight series. And we haven't said anything. And your name comes up so frequently. Mm-hmm. It's to the point
people tells me this. They're like, Jazz, people love you. And I'm like,
right, that's how we are too. And they say, oh, we love you, girls. We be like, really?
Yeah,
but you have such a passionate, loyal fan base. Like, it's so cool to see, especially on social media, because they can remind us of things like, oh, on this day, Jazz did this on Raw, and you're like, oh shoot,
yeah, it's funny because I had a few people try to come out on me for my Impact. From a few matches I had an Impact, and I didn't have to say a word. Like, they got in there and like just shut it down.
Right. That's it.
Shut them down.
Well, we love you, Jazz. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate this. We would definitely stay in touch with you. You can follow us everywhere. Those Wrestling Girls, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube. Subscribe to our Patreon.
I gotta find you on Twitter.
Okay, we'll definitely text you on Twitter. Yeah. And on that note, it's your girl Krista B
and Queen PR
with the lovely Jazz. Bye.
Bye. Take care. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right.